So, are we live now? I guess, but I'm
Yes.
frozen.
Hello, everybody. So Alan is still frozen? No, no, it's working. Just try it again.
How does it look now?
Yeah, your lips are not flipping.
Okay, but I think everybody can hear me.
Yeah, everybody can hear you. Yeah,
so,
just
hi guys.
go without picture or something.
Yeah, welcome to the HEX Kryptosparbuch show. My name is Alan. With me is Patrick the Hex Line, and we have a special guest today. It is MatiAllin, and we will talk about him, of course, and how he got into crypto and all of that. Then his part in the HEX community, his own channel. He has an awesome channel. And the third part today will be about the HEX conference. So let's get him into the show.
Yes, of course. Hello, Mati.
Hey, everybody. Good to see you. I've really been loving your guys' content, and I appreciate everything you guys do. It's so well refined. Your graphics are beautiful. You've got good content. So thank you.
Thanks for that. Thanks for all that. Yeah, we have so actually, you know, with HEX, we formed the Telegram group, the German Telegram Kryptosparbuch, and some people from Germany founded the Telegram group, and I was like reviewing all the HEX stuff before we started a year ago, and then I found the channel of them as well, and went in there, made friends with them. I have visited them already twice this year, like in the COVID breaks, and with Alan as well. So Alan joined like a few months later, but even he joined HEX in the beginning as well. And yeah, he's now the meme guy of the community, and he is a great moderator as well. So it's perfect to have him on the show, and it's really good.
Who came up with the name for the show? This is you made your own word in the English or in the German language. Is that right?
I mean, yes. I mean, Sparbuch in German means savings account. So it's like just a crypto savings account, and it's the who came up with the word? I guess it was the founder of the Kryptosparbuch Telegram group. It was Dan, and so like those are three founders of this Telegram group, and all the other people joined a bit later then.
Yeah, well, the German language allows us to put things together and then form those beautiful words like Kryptosparbuch. It was never been a word like this before, but in the German language, you can just put things together and have it work like this. So all of us are day one FOMO, and then we are in HEX from the first day, maybe some of us even before. And we all met later on during the HEX community. Like we just got to know each other, and then we started the show. But of course, today we want to talk about you first, Mati. Sure. When was the first time you came into contact with crypto in general?
Okay, well, one of my good friends from my younger years, from high school, told me about Bitcoin very early on, maybe 2013, 2014. And then the first time I actually took action in crypto is I bought some Ethereum when it launched, or maybe I'm not exactly sure if it was when it launched. It was when they were doing that DAO, was it DAO thing, or it was when Ethereum was $20. I bought one, nice. And then I forgot about it, and nice. That was before it split into Ethereum Classic and Ethereum and everything, and then I really got involved in 2017 before most people did, because I was following the price of gold. And so when one Bitcoin became worth more than 1 ounce of gold, that's when I had kind of my crypto aha moment. And I said, wait a second, there's something here. And so I started studying it, and eventually started importing ASIC miners and selling them on eBay, and importing physical coins that are collectibles, and you have a fraction of a Bitcoin on them, and so I then took it from there. So
Nice. That's awesome that you got in that early and had time to really study it and got time to really know about what you're talking about right now. So what was the time when you learned about Hex and Richard Hart?
So I learned about Richard Hart before he launched Hex, and as many other people did, I was drawn to his truth bombs and his excellence in speaking the truth and demonstrating his knowledge in so many different areas. So I came across him on YouTube and started listening, but you know, I kept hearing, okay, Hex is going to happen, another month, and so I kept reminding myself. I think I set a reminder on my phone to like, okay, in a week, like figure out if that's launched yet or not. And and so I ended up buying for the first time on day 4.
Okay, cool.
Good. Actually, perfect timing there, more or less.
Yeah.
Like because you set up your reminder on the calendar not for the first day of the launch phase. So yeah, you came day 4. Perfect.
That's right.
So all of us in the Kryptosparbuch, we FOMO day 1, and this was obviously not the best day to go in, but we learned our lesson, and I think we have a nice saying now that, hey, we are FOMO day 1, and it's like a meme today, right?
Yeah. Rite of passage. Yeah, you guys unlocked that achievement.
Exactly, we got this this achievement. What is, Mehdi, what is your favorite part of the Hex game theory?
Well, so the game theory, of course, is what drives the value of crypto. Whether you're talking about Bitcoin, which is the first crypto that was invented, and the game theory of the people who are checking, the miners who check to make sure nobody double spends their coins, those people are incentivized to be honest because they're getting paid in Bitcoin, and they're being required to submit electricity into the system that costs money, and so they have costs that are being paid out in Bitcoin. So if they ruined the network, then they wouldn't be able to pay their electricity bill that month. That's the game theory of what protects Bitcoin, and that's great until you get to the point where you're burning too much electricity and making the world a hotter place with weather that can really hurt people and hurt their lives with climate change. And so that's why I think Hex has a lot more room to grow, is because with Hex, the game theory isn't just based on burning electricity and being honest, but it's about making future promises to yourself and keeping them, and being incentivized to save. So your question is a very difficult one, because there's so many aspects of the Hex game theory that are worth being my favorite, but I think the parts that I'm most excited about are the parts that haven't been invented yet or haven't emerged. So all of the potential for Hex to be a way to not just pay yourself to have delayed gratification and pay yourself to save in the future, but to be able to pay yourself to change other behaviors that might be making your life not the best, such as you could pay yourself to quit smoking tobacco cigarettes, or you could pay yourself to exercise or eat better. And so that game theory stuff hasn't gotten worked out yet. So maybe that's my favorite, is what lies ahead.
Actually, that part of the game theory has worked out already, and Alan can give you a great example about it. Actually, Alan, just tell us again, like how you so like where did the money came from you dollar cost averaged into Hex?
Yeah, well, I used the adoption amplifier back in the day, and I smoked a lot of cigarettes back then. And I thought to myself, hey, I just burning this energy right now. I'm going to work to get money, and then I just smoke it up and throw it away, basically. So I listened to Richard Hart's video. It was about like gaming, how to get rid of gaming, the addiction of gaming. And he said to just cancel everything that can remind you of it. And of course, money was a big part of me smoking cigarettes because I had money available. So I thought to myself, if I put in all the money I spent for cigarettes, just put it into adoption amplifier, so it was 10 euros every day, then I'm able to say, no, I already spent it and I cannot buy cigarettes because I already put the money away in the adoption amplifier. I did this every day for like 3 months or so, and it really helped me quit smoking. And also I made a lot of gains with it as well. So the game for me was rather than spending the money for cigarettes, just put it somewhere else where you can make more money in the future. This was the logic for me.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and you know, like
it helped me a lot.
Some speech like for to become rich is just you have your incomings, you have your outgoings. There is a difference, and you just need to invest the difference, and then you have the first step towards a rich life. Because you know, if you just keep your overproduction, so the money which stays after the end of the month, in liquid US dollars, so in liquid fiat currencies, you're pretty likely to spend it, or you will just lose it over time, and this is called inflation, you know.
And Abit gives a perfect example of how HEX is already a life extension technology, right? Because it incentivizes you to get those mad gains, right? And to perhaps even give up some of the things that would shorten your life, such as smoking tobacco. And so I think that will continue to emerge. That's my prediction, is that it will emerge more and more amazing stories like yours, where you know, you'll be able to say, if you want, or we could do the math on how much you smoked, and 10 euros a day, and how much you have made by quitting smoking, and how much you're paying yourself. That's really incredible. Are you earning more than 10 euros a day in interest now, do you think?
I've calculated it, and yes, it is so much more that I don't actually know how much more it is. It's like not comparable anymore because HEX went up so many X.
Yeah, wow.
And still to this day, I do not smoke, and I'm still not burning money. So because I have still this mindset, before I spend money, I rather invest it somehow to get more money in the future.
Yes. Like the question, do I really need to spend this money right now, always comes first. So like, do I need to spend this, or should I buy more HEX?
Exactly. So, I'm
so,
lagging a little bit, right? Or is everything okay on your side?
You're still lagging today. Yeah, I don't know why, actually. Yeah, I guess it's the best if you're doing it today without your camera. I don't know if you have some things in the background which
no, everything is closed. Okay. So my picture is away, but I'm still here. Let us go on to the next part of this interview. Matti, you got your own show. You have the YouTube channel, D-Live channel, all the other platforms where you talk especially about HEX, but also some other stuff. So can you explain what you're doing?
That's right. Yeah. So I'm learning is what I'm doing. And the first show that I launched is called HEX Therapy. Hextherapy.live goes to the D-Live, and probably hextherapy.com goes to the YouTube or something. And HEX Therapy is a way for people to talk about how HEX can be used for making behavior change, that's positive behavior changes. And we've had some really awesome episodes so far. I'm a mental health counselor, and so I help people every day by helping them with their mental health issues. And but by doing this show, I'm not providing therapy necessarily. Definitely not in the same way that I would in my clinical groups. But it's teaching skills that people can use, life hacks, brain hacks, and those sorts of things. And so that's the show that we do every Thursday. And I do that with my co-host, Joe Hexotic, who's a great guy, and he has an amazing story and testimony of Hex, where he had been suicidal and now has sent money to himself 15 years in the future, and is excited to participate in the community and live to see how, for 15 years and beyond, what Hex will be able to do to help him, but to help other people as well. And so we're really excited about that.
Yeah, I saw his story on the 24-hour stream. Yeah, it's really, it was really hard story here to tell, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I've been blessed to have him as a co-host, and we just did a show with Nate J called Lottery Psychology, where where we found out that he actually had a relative who won $8 million in the lottery and spent it all foolishly. And so when Nate won the what was it, the 3.3 million Hex giveaway, he ended up locking up his money so that he won't spend it foolishly. And so he learned from the Hex community, and he learned from his own life experiences how to save for the future and have a better life for himself and his family.
Well, that's another awesome part of the Hex game theory. I mean, there are so many stories about people that bought Bitcoin, for example, for $1, $10, and then they already sold it like when it was $300. So they still made a killing, but they could hold on to it until it was to 10,000 or 20,000. And in the Hex game theory, once you lock it up, your money, you are not able to sell it anytime soon. At least
That's
not
right.
before you said you end your stake. So if you made a 15-year stake, you know for sure that you will keep this stake for like 7.5 years at least. And this is awesome to protect myself, because I could guarantee you all this money from smoking that I already staked, after Hex went up 260x, I bet you guarantee that I would sold it already, but I didn't. I held on to it because it was staked. So I was just protecting myself with this game theory.
Yes, that's right.
Otherwise, he might be smoking a cigarette right now, you know?
Yeah.
On stream, for sure.
Yeah, on stream, exactly.
So you have Joe Hexotic in your show. He's your co-host, and he just started an own channel as well, right? Do you know what he's talking about? I just saw like a couple of his streams.
Yeah. So Joe Hexotic is spinning off his show about recovery in terms of strength, unity, community, and these different principles that are part of 12-step programs, and that he's adapting to help people tell their stories of overcoming addiction, overcoming mental health problems, and for him to relate it to these different principles of 12-step meetings and spirituality and the different things that he knows the most about. And so he had a great show last night with Pollyanny, who she has like 7,000 Twitter followers, and she's a Hexican and has an amazing story of overcoming so many things in her life. That was a great show. And so he's doing really great work. And the Hex Therapy show is focused more on behavior change and psychology in general, and not just recovery stories. And so that those will complement each other. And then I'm, I guess, spinning off into doing something called MatiAllin Live, where I interview people and discuss more topics in general.
But that is awesome that you could help Joe so much with your streams, and now he's working with you together. So he has an aim to go for, to wake up every day to help you to make this show. Now he has his own show, and I know for sure that if you have problems with addiction, several kinds and stuff, that it really helps a lot having an aim and having somebody who is like pushing you. Because Patrick and me, for example, we had our own YouTube channels, but we didn't post so much content. And now once we found each other, we are like complimenting each other and like pushing each other to make like 2 videos a week at least. And this is helping each other a lot to just have an aim and go for it. And this is like something else in the Hex community where everybody is helping out each other. I was just shouting out, hey guys, I need some subscription to make an individual URL. And so many people jumped in and just subscribed, even though it was a German channel and they didn't even understand what I was talking about. But the Hex community is just like helping each other, and that is so awesome.
Yeah, because when it comes to streaming, it's also kind of the same as it is in sports. Yeah, if you have like your a good friend who is going with you for the run and going with you for the bike tour and so on, yeah, you're likely to run longer or to ride one extra round around the lake, or to just do a bit more, because you're pushing each other a bit further as to your own limit, you know.
That's a great example. Yeah.
And Patrick and me, of course, we do this channel to help other people to understand Hex, and it is so awesome that how many questions we get and how many people wrote us and saying, hey, you really helped me with Hex and I was able to make so many X on my money and stuff. So this is awesome. But I cannot imagine on your side where you really help people. We are just doing it on the financial side, but financial is actually not that important in life. It is way more important in life to like get loose of your bad habits and like fix your life, and that is what you're doing. So I can just imagine how many people text you and hey, Matty, you helped me so much. I bet this happens a lot, right?
Yeah, it's extremely rewarding to hear back from people and hear that they're wanting to make their lives better and they're using the tools that we know work. I've done therapy with people one-on-one for 11,000 hours total, and but I never before got to reach a larger audience than just maybe a couple hundred people a year in my clinic. And now I just had a moment last night where Valiant Brand, he went live and he was educating other people about how he started taking omega-3 about a month ago when we were talking about it on Hex Therapy. And now he's educating other people. So it's having a network effect. And that was the dream I had when I started streaming, was that it wouldn't just be coming from me, but other people would see that it changes lives, having your prefrontal cortex supercharged and not leaking electricity, and all the electrical wires in your brain being insulated correctly because people are getting their omega-369, which is a number we like in Hex already. And so lots of things are just coming together.
Well, that's the beauty of the internet as well. In your clinic, how many people you can see a day? Like 10 or 20 people a day, for example. But like we'll just put out one video and this will be out there forever. And so many more people can benefit from that. So it really scales having a YouTube channel like this.
Yeah.
So this brings us actually to the next part of our interview today. You have the conference coming up, and can you explain what was your intention about making a Hex conference like you did? It will be on the January 6th to the 9th, I think, right?
Yep, that's right. It'll be Wednesday through Saturday, January 6th to the 9th. And the point of the conference is a lot of different things. I worked for 7 years in a neuroscience research laboratory where we studied brainwaves. And so I got the honor of presenting all around the country, and then even in other countries. I presented in Ireland, in Italy, the research that we had done, and in psychophysiology, and then also I did research in sleep medicine. And so these are different areas where I've attended conferences, and conferences are great because they allow you to build community, they allow you to network, and they give people the structure they need in order to present ideas worth sharing, right? And ideas that will grow to be the next great things. And so this, I think, is an opportunity, this conference, for us as a community to come together, and that's already what's happening. Almost 100% of people who have been asked to be in the conference within the HEX community, all the influencers, are all extremely willing to participate. And so I think what we're going to have is something that is going to be so wonderfully put together that it'll be something where we can invite people maybe who don't understand HEX yet, and we'll have segments where the people who understand HEX and can explain it the best will be presenting, and then we'll have so for people who are new, and then we'll also have advanced topics as well that will be covered to really even push what we know about HEX now, and to present it in a way that that everybody's able to grow.
So do you have a schedule already laid out, and what things will be discussed on the HEX conference? I think I saw something like the testimonials, for example. I saw keynotes, and then there's also other parts. What are the different segments of the conference?
Yeah, so this is something that's still in the final stages of planning. We said that until Thursday the 17th, people were allowed to submit their ideas for what types of presentations they would like to give and what topics. And then we also invited a lot of people to add that structure to the mix as well, and to make sure that nobody's being left out because they didn't hear about it. And so we've got, so RG3 Hexologist and I are going to be hosting, and so that's basically the committee of approval that's needed to make sure that it's not too centralized, I guess, but they're willing to do kind of, you know, whatever is best for the community, and so I've penciled together a carefully thought out schedule, and we're making adjustments because we wanted to have everybody in the HEX community committed to it before we reached out to these big keynotes that were kind of there's pros and cons to having somebody, let's say like Roger Ver. Having Roger Ver come and speak at the HEX conference, like, there would be good things and bad things about that, right? But I think the idea was that overall that could be a good thing, right? To bring larger audiences in, and but either way, it's going to be great whether we have as the keynotes, whether we have people who maybe aren't all in on HEX, and then we have people who are. Either one of those programs is going to be something that's really going to be special for the first HEX conference, and it's almost more special if it's just HEX people. But we don't want to lose our chance for having a larger audience if there is somebody with a larger audience who wants to participate. And so, for example, the name of the conference was a challenge, right? Because we could have gone with something that was more general, right? And but then it wouldn't be as special to Hex. So we could have gone with DeFi Conference 2021 or something like that, DeFi Talks or something. But instead, drawing a line in the sand and being so confident that in the future, all of the, anybody who knows anything about crypto is going to be in Hex. And so we don't need to dilute the brand of the conference by naming it something other than what we know is the best, right? And so that's why the name of the conference is Hex Change 2021, and then 2022, we'll have it every year. We'll do it in person,
hopefully.
Once all these pandemics get under control. And but having it, the first one digital, is going to allow more people to attend. It's going to create zero cost for participants, and so that's really exciting. And so let me know what other questions you have about the conference.
Of course, we want to take part in the conference as well, and I got a message from you, and I applied. I didn't know at this time what I wanted to talk about, so I just penciled in that I want to make a testimonial, for example. But then I had a really great idea, I think, and I came to Patrick with the idea. We wanted to talk about the interest of Hex and how the interest is like putting itself together and getting more and more of a time. But can you maybe explain what we will talk about? So we actually worked on it for like several times already, put some hours in it, and Patrick can just explain what we're going to talk about.
I can give you a small summary of the thing we have planned. So what we are going to do is to put two people in perspective. The first person is a person who stakes all his Hex for 15 years. And the second person is a person who puts the same amount of Hex for just 1 year and then compounds after 1 year for another year, compounds to another year, and compounds to another year. Compounding means that you take your principal, including all your interest, and stake it again for a year. So, and then we show the comparison. So that's basically the thing. And to get there, we just, at first we need to tell you what are the things determining the daily payout of Hex. So those are three things. It's first the total Hex payout, the Hex total payout daily, and second, it's the pool of all the shares, so the total share pool, and the third measurement is the staked ratio, so how much of all the Hex in the market are staked and how much is circulating supply. And after explaining those, people would know, okay, those three things are the dynamic of the daily payout. And then we had to do assumptions for all of those three things. Then we walk you through our assumptions, and for our assumptions we didn't only choose ourselves, so we brought together a team of Hex OGs, and all of those people put together their own assumptions, and we took an average out of like 6 Hex OGs assumptions, and then we show you how those two people work out in with our assumptions. And what you will see in the end is like the distance both people get over the years, because you have the first person who stakes for 15 years, and we have the second person who tries to get to the same with compounding, but longer pays better. So even if you compound in Hex, you will always get less as you are the one who is staking for the whole time in one long stake. And we got pretty interesting outcomes of the two numbers, and I don't want to say too much, but the gap between those two peoples in the end is huge. And our assumptions may or may not be right, but the gap will always be the same, or will more or less be the same. Like even if our assumptions are wrong, you will still see that this gap, because then reality will be a slightly different than our assumptions, but the gap between those two people will still be more or less the same. So it's never possible that they are going closer together or something.
That's amazing. Yeah. So you guys are really treating this like a scientific conference where you're modeling something that is happening in the real world, and you're presenting data to help people understand the opportunity that they have for a longer pays better, right?
Exactly. Yeah. With our with our best assumptions, we can do to put the dynamic of the hex code into perspective.
That's amazing. I'm extremely pleased that you guys will be contributing this, because this is going to add a lot to the conference. And,
because most of the people in the first place are always asking us, how much do I do? How much do I make? How much will I make? That's like one of the first questions you get when you start explaining hex. And with this model, like for sure we won't hit like our assumptions won't be the reality in 15 years, but they may be really close to reality, and it's more about the gap between those two people.
And the part that is right is that longer will pay better in hex.
Exactly. And we just wanted to prove that longer really pays better, and to put it in like realistic numbers to show the people how good longer pays better,
What I wanted to do is to show the people the compounding interest and how compounding interest works, and that's why I asked Patrick to make this happen. And he said, "Oh, it's so hard to explain it in hex, because in the normal world with the S&P 500, for example, you get a dividend, and then you can just put it into the." I always forget the word, but you can put it in again and again and again, and then you can make this compounding interest. With hex, you can also do that, but you're way better off with just staking longer. And I knew this right away, and I wanted to make just a brief panel on how to do this and how this would work. But Patrick actually came to me and said, "Hey man, we cannot do it like this. Hex is a dynamic system. First we have to explain what is the dynamic and why is the dynamic there, and then explain that stuff, and then we can come to the compounding interest." And then we did all that, and we really put together, just like you said, it's basically a scientific paper on what will happen in the future. It's basically a simulation Kyle did with a simulation of how many payout you get for the next 10 years, and we did the same, but with all the new data we have, and it's like a little bit more to the real world, just like we did it.
And this is part of the reason why the final schedule for the conference isn't decided until all the ideas are submitted, is because we want to line up the ideas so that it creates the best viewing and the best programming. And so we've got Kyle is going to be speaking at the conference, right? Who's the programmer who did hex, programmed hex on a team, and Firebun and Steph got back to us now and said he's going to be there. And so we're going to want to arrange the schedule in order to make your ideas pop and to get the most out of them, and to present them in the place where people will understand what we're talking about. And I wanted to see if there's one part that I could understand better about the simulation that you're doing. Would that be okay?
Of course.
Yeah, sure.
So you said person one is going to be taking it out every year and then putting it back in, right? And so it might not be accurate. Is there a more accurate term other than that person is compounding? Because really, the way that HEX is set up, they are not going to be compounding in the same way that the person is who is leaving their money in for the entire duration. Because
we could label it as a person who wants to have more flexibility. That's why he's only staking yearly, but wants to restake everything always for every year. You know, the thing is, how I'm not aware of a example that we can still compare it with person A who is putting the 15-year stake, you know. So I need a person B who is more or less still staking 15 years, but not the whole time in one stake. Because only with doing that, I can show that only longer pays better, and all the other things, like if people are not restaking all of their gains, including principal. So if people in reality are even doing less, they are even opening up more gap towards person A, who is just taking all his hacks for 15 years.
What you're really going to be highlighting, I think, is how expensive it is to have the option to cash out, right? Exactly. Because if you allow, you know, there's only once you create an option to get your HEX out every year and then you put it back in. I mean, that's what's really costing you, because it's becoming liquid again, so you could sell it. So you're not only losing the interest that HEX creates in a compound way through the share system, and makes sure that longer pays better by making you buy back in at a higher price if you have the option to sell. Even if somebody knew that they were going to put all of their earnings from the first year back in for another year, and they knew that they were going to do it for another year after that over and over again, that person, because technically they could change their mind and have the option to sell, that person's going to get rewarded so much less than the person who knows ahead of time that they can cancel their option to sell for 15 years. And so that's I think, and if we think of it that way, it might be similar to in the real world, isn't it, like options versus futures? And like if you have an option, sometimes it's like a month-long contract or something, and you have the right but not the obligation to sell during that time. And then that's what people are really monetizing in the, I can't remember if it's the futures or the options market. I think it's because you can.
It's the options market, yeah, but it depends on the options market if you're on the seller or on the buyer side. If you're on the buying side of call or put options, you can sell your option when you want to. But if you're the seller of a put or a call option, you need to hold it until the specific date you put it.
So I haven't ever heard anybody say that before in HEX, but I think that's what's going on.
Well, what we wanted to show is like the massive compounding interest. And we already knew that longer pays better, so we wanted to generate like person B, and we knew this was the maximum of money you can earn by just taking, for example, a little bit of HEX and stake it 15 years. So there is no way around to game this system. And then we want to have a comparison to this person, whoever is like staking for 15 years, everything he has, for example. And the only way to compare it is to have somebody to stake for only 1 year and then restake again with the interest and stuff. And of course, we want to put in another person C, for example, who is putting in a ladder for staking 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, like all in advance. This would be the normal behavior. Normal Hexican would do it, right? But and actually, at the end, we found out that you cannot compare a staking ladder to a stake that is only put in for 15 years.
That's right.
Then we had to put out this person C and then just compare it with person A and B. And what we found, and what we didn't found out, but everybody knew it in advance already, because we have longer pace better and bigger pace better even. But what we were able to do is to put it into perspective and put it into a graph, you know. And once you see this graph and how big it is to compare to the other one, you will never do a stake again that is less than 15 years. I promise you.
Yes.
And the second huge outcome of our model is the last third of the 15-year stake. So you are far better off if you stake 15 years as compared to just 10 years.
Yeah.
Like, so, really, there is a huge difference.
So I'm maybe joking here, but I'm gonna do a meta version of your thing, and I'm gonna say, what if the German group did not present their findings? It makes people all FOMO 15 years, and what if they did, and then show how much money people are gonna lose because everybody's gonna start staking longer, and now. Now it's more expensive for the people who figured it out already. So
yeah, that would be a good one. I actually thought about this situation as well. Like, we have this information right now. Should we hold up with it so we only are the people with this information? That would benefit us, like the people who just stake 15 years. But then I came to conclusion it is way better if everybody knows about it and stakes like it, because they gonna buy the hex, buy up the price, and then they lock it up. And this is really good for everybody in the network.
Yeah.
And that's why we came out and to present the system.
It's just the perfect way for the network to grow if we get more and more users who are doing at least one max out stake, you know, because they are committed for 15 years. And, even if they are selling journey to their 15-year stake, you know, they will never go in the chat rooms like the Bitcoin people are doing that. They are selling and then they are going back to the chat rooms complaining why Bitcoin is bad.
Yeah,
because they wanna rebuy at the lower price, you know. So they are going in the chat rooms to FUD. And even with the hex price, we saw that already in the last year. You know, I'm also in the beer chat, and from time to time, after every FOMO, you get those people who are like, I guess Hex is going to die, you know, like, oh no, at least 50% drop more, and so on and so forth. So they're really trying to talk the price down.
Yeah, and which is the best. That's the best individual strategy, right?
Sure.
If we all were greedy, we would be getting we'd be getting our reputation up in Hex, and then saying, oh no, it's broken, everybody sell, and then we're buying, you know, but we're not like that, right? And because really Hex is going to reward us in a lot of other ways. When you guys say that you're going to pull people in with doing 15-year stakes more, right, by showing them the power, because, you know, Einstein called compound interest. Well, this may or may not be true if you deep dive it, but Einstein is said to have called compound interest the 8th wonder of the world. The reason it's a wonder is because it's so hard for people to imagine their money growing exponentially, because in our everyday lives, things don't grow exponentially.
And to hold on to it as well.
Yes. Yeah, and so, but the cool thing about a 15-year stake is not just how much it rewards the person, but by committing them to 15 years, then it sucks them into possibly giving social capital. So HEX, part of the game theory is that when you lock, then you're committed to the project for 15 years. And then you might start saying nice things about it, or you might start building shows or articles and stuff like that.
Or it's just enough, if you're delete everything, all Hex content, and just come back after 1 year to have a look if it's still there. And then you might be surprised because it might be thousands of percents more, and then you get some feelings about it. I mean, I don't need to explain it to you. I guess you already had enough people to talk about those feelings, or you have your own stake app on your phone, and so you are aware of these feelings. As you said, you bought the first time at day 4, so I guess you also did some kind of dollar cost average, because I heard some of your contents before. Yeah. So you got great prices. So
I have a question for you, Mati. You said you were into neuroscience, right?
Yes.
And I want to ask you, the compounding interest, is this why is this so hard to grasp for people? Because it is exponential growth, right? And I think the human brain is more likely to understand linear growth. Can you explain why the exponential growth is so hard to grasp?
Yeah, so, financial literacy is something that has to be learned. It's not something that you're born with. Right? The people are not born with language, right? The people have to learn what things are. And so just like emotionally speaking, people tend to be only understanding emotions at a shallow level until their vocabulary expands, right? And so if you ask somebody who hasn't had an emotional education or learned from others growing up how they either feel good or bad. Those are the only 2 words that they have, right? And then if you expand their emotional vocabulary, then they're able to describe and understand their emotions on a deeper level. And so I think part of the reason why people don't understand compound growth is because it is something that is hard to grasp and requires you to use your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain where your imagination happens, where you think about consequences, where you do your problem solving. And so in order to understand this, people would have to have more complex thoughts, and in general, the population is being conditioned to think less about things, to be driven by fear, to be having the fear parts of their brain take over. So they keep watching for the, and get fed the next commercial on the news and stuff like that. So I think that there's a lot of reasons why it's hard for people to understand, but it's also hard for people to believe, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. And actually, even for me, it took me a long part to imagine all those different exponential functions we have in the hex code, because it's not like just one exponential function. It's like the combination of different ones. And so so it's even harder to get, because you have like 3, 4 or 5 different exponential curves in the hex code, and only the combination of all those are then you get the real dynamic of the hex code.
Yeah.
At this point, I quickly want to have a shout out to everybody who was watching the show, is giving likes and sending lemons and stuff. You guys are awesome. Thank you for that. I just pulled up the chat. I wasn't able to read the chat before. So if you guys have questions about something, just throw it into the chat and ask me or Patrick or Matty anything, and we can just reply to that. And Matty, you wanted to say something?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
you were just saying something. I was cutting you off.
It's so much fun talking to you guys. I have like a million thoughts all at once. And you guys really understand Hex. And so that's why it's so exciting to talk to you about kind of our different understandings and similar understandings. I think I really want to emphasize how powerful your presentation is going to be at the conference, because even if in a world where we didn't get more adoption, right? Everybody who's in Hex, that's it, right? And if people don't cash out and they stake longer and they keep buying in with their paychecks, then Hex can still go up many, many times, right? So there's all these force multipliers that go on top of each other. We have not had adoption. We have not had virality yet, right? We've had adoption, but not virality. Do you guys have a guess as to how many people are in Hex right now?
I mean, you see the number on the Staker app, how many people are staked on individual addresses, and you have the number on hex.vision, like on how much addresses, how much each addresses ever had Hex in them, or something like that is this measurement. Like because this number is about 270,000 or something like that. So like then current address is 240,500, and this is way more as we have like individual users, but this shows you like that there is like silently a lot of traction from the trading cryptocurrency market, you know, because only if you're staking, you are part in the number of the Staker app. And so if you're not staking, so just have your bought some Hex, you know, and just have it liquid in your MetaMask wallet or in your hardware wallet, then you're not part of the addresses shown in the stake app. So it's something between 25,000 and 240,000. I know it's a big gap, but because during the launch phase there were a lot of addresses used, just like one usage to move Hex around. So my guess would be we are at about 40 to 60,000 people looking more or less on the Hex price.
So Patrick, we just have a question here. So Identity Block says, so if people have multiple wallets like 50K in Hex, it's not a question, I think, but what is say about that? So they are not in the staker class if they're not staked. That's the point, right?
Exactly. So if they have like a different wallet for the liquid Hex, so for example, then it won't show in the stake app as well.
Then also people have different accounts and have like 10,000 and 10,000 in different accounts, and all it matters is if you're not staked, you're not in the staker app like represented, but just like Patrick said, there are also people that only have Hex in the wallet and are not staked, and those people are around 25 to 40,000, you said, right?
Something like that is my guess, yeah, because you can also with Bitcoin you can only do guesses, because you don't know whom is behind which address, you know, who is behind which address. So even with Bitcoin, it may be that if there are like 1,000 addresses over 1,000 Bitcoin, it might be that it's just spread between 600 people. Yeah, it doesn't mean that it's 1,000 people. So it's just a guess you can make. But because also I know some super sharks in Hex and so on. Yeah, they also have more than just one address. Yeah, they even have different private keys in different addresses. Yeah, to spread out their risk. Yeah, if they are losing one address, they don't lose their whole Hex volume. Yeah.
How much would it cost us? How much would it cost us to give every Ethereum wallet one hex?
I mean, I don't know exactly how much Ethereum wallets there are. I'm not aware of that. Yeah, I don't.
Then just think about the gas price you would have, because it was here.
Isn't there a way to match it?
The gas price is not the thing, because we can do 2,000 transactions with CK something, sync rollup, something like that. You know, so it won't
That's where
be.
It gets you though, yeah.
It won't be that gas heavy, but still there are like, I don't know, 20, 30 something million addresses of ETH.
That's not bad. That's not bad. To onboard what? 1 million people or something?
I don't really think that we could onboard 1 million people with that, because I don't think so.
We can double. The people in
actually, I looked it up. It's like 129 million addresses, unique addresses of ETH since the existence of ETH.
Well, we have another question from Old Man Hex. Do we know what percentage of Hex, of the total Hex, is on the market right now?
Everything which is on all the centralized exchanges and on Uniswap.
Exactly. It is a number about 660,000, something like this, right? And this question implies how many Hex will there ever be? And I think it's like this person, I don't know if they think about the Bitcoin where it's capped on 21 million Bitcoin that will ever be minted. Hex is different to that, because in the future, in 10 years, there will be a lot of more Hex on the market. In 15 years, there will be even more.
Not on the market. Like the question was Hex on the market, really, like on the market, like from people who are willing to sell their Hex to you on the exchange, in the order book on Uniswap, you know. So because it's not how if we know like how much percentage is like the total Hex, because we know what is the total Hex amount. You just need to go to backuphex.com, for example. You see what's the total amount of all Hex, you know. But on the market is just what people are willing to offer other people right now, you know, like the liquidity providers on Uniswap, or the individual people on the central exchanges who are putting limit orders. And we will never know like exactly how much Hex there is on the market, because everybody of the Hex users can decide, okay, I want to sell some Hex right now, and then he logs into his MetaMask, goes on the market and sells or buys. So
that's why I was not thinking about how much is on the market, but how much is there in existence. I just messed it up a little bit there. So, Mati, do you have any other questions you want to ask me or Patrick about the Kryptosparbuch or about Hex?
Yeah. So tell me more about Germany.
Well, what is there to say about Germany? Germany is like actually awesome for Hex and for crypto in general, because we have this law. Once you hold your Bitcoin or Hex for 1 year, you don't have to pay capital gains on it. Is this the same in Austria as well, Patrick?
Yes, it's the same.
Well, so we have all those awesome tax advantages, but for myself, I want to go out of Germany anyways, even though we have those awesome laws, because in Germany I feel like we are becoming more and more how do you say it, a Soviet state, where the government is so big in Germany. you almost kill the innovation, the part. Like you cannot just go out and do your business. It is all really starting to get controlled by the government, and I don't like that. And that's why I just have the mindset of being like a perpetual traveler in the future. Like I now with my HEX gains, I want to leave Germany and I just want to travel, so I don't have to pay taxes or be controlled by big government anymore. And I think Austria and Switzerland is pretty much the same. We have really big government in Germany and Austria, at least.
Yeah, I won't compare like all three states that much, because especially Switzerland is a kind of a different case, you know, not part of the European Union, not part of the Eurozone. So, definitely other rules and regulations going on there as well, and it's a bit easier in smaller countries than in bigger countries, I would say. And I mean, I would say Austria, it's a bit better for the legislation thing as in Germany and so on, but yeah, still, especially in this year, you see it all over in the world, yeah, that that those rules and the regulations coming from governments are more often misleading as helpful.
Yeah. And the government angle is important. So I want to do a shout out real quick to Satoshi Nakamoto, whom I might be watching. I'm not sure, but right, and that's probably Paul LaRue, who is an international cartel leader who's in federal prison now. But I think they have the internet in some prisons, and so shout out to him. And he actually put something about governments and economics in the first Bitcoin block. In the Genesis block, there was a news article that was the title of it was in there, and the title was something about a chancellor on the brink of another bailout. Is that right? And was that the chancellor of Germany that he was talking about?
I haven't heard anything about that, so I don't think it was the Chancellor of Germany.
I'm not aware about any information in the Bitcoin Genesis blog. Actually, I don't know about that.
Really? You got
I mean, I know that there are that it's possible to send additional informations in a Bitcoin transaction. Yes. Yeah, and that it would be possible to even send Bitcoin transaction like with Skype smileys or something like that. Yeah. So, but I don't know like which information was presented in the Bitcoin Genesis blog.
It's Chancellor Alistair Darling. Is that a German person, or is it from some
I don't know her.
Country?
Never heard about her. We have a question for you, Mati, from DJ Cryptomatic. A question for Mati. Are a lot of people in crypto or HEX really contacting you for help or advice with mental issues, or is it not that many?
So I think most people, we can tell by the amount of interest by the people watching HEX Therapy, which is like sometimes it's more than on Periscope, sometimes it's more than the people watching Hexologists, and sometimes it's less. So I think it just depends on the topic that we're covering. When it comes to reaching out to me, I don't know how much is a lot. I mean, Richard says that his peak contacts is 2 or 3 or 5 people per day messaging him that he changed their lives. And I don't know how many I get, maybe 1 every day or 2.
Well, for me, that would be a lot.
Yeah. For me as well.
Yeah. So it depends how you measure it. But I mean, but for every one person that messages you, there's probably more out there that are just enjoying the benefits and not reaching out. So
yeah, let's increase that to 3 to 4 after the HEX conference.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to compete with Richard or anything, but he's part. He's the reason why I'm doing this, and so it all goes back to him and his amazing work and his caring about other people and making the world a better place. It's really inspiring.
Well, I think crypto is a double-edged sword. On the one hand, you can make a lot of money with it, but on the other hand, it is due with a lot of responsibility as well. So, Mary, if you have people with mental issues or other issues, what would you explain to them how to handle the crypto and maybe how to handle the gains in the future? Because, like, for example, in crypto, you have to hold your own keys, but holding your own keys, it's a lot of responsibility. And then just imagine the case, you just be in HEX, put in a little bit money, now you have a lot of money, but you still have the mental issues. Then now you have mental issues and you have a lot of money that can lead to disaster, right?
Yeah, so HEX helps save you from yourself by giving you the chance to lock for a certain amount of time and then keep your promise because you have to. If somebody's if somebody's depressed or they commit suicide, that would not be good for their investment. But I'm not sure I really understand the question.
Well, the question was a little bit confusing because on the one hand, I was explaining like the keys where you have the responsibility to hold your own keys. If you lose this paper, you lose your wealth. So I don't know if it's good for people with mental health.
They talked about this on Discord Syndicate for a second last night about like the security and responsibility angle. And what I learned and agree with there is that when your investment grows, that's when you care about the security.
Exactly. Yeah.
But even if somebody, psychologically speaking, if somebody loses their HEX and they're still an early adopter, then they have a chance to get more by working hard and being higher functioning than they were before. And so, if you want more gains, you can work harder. That's one way to do it. Or you can stake longer, or you can do both. As a crypto coffee and I said the other day, it depends what game you want to play in HEX, right? Determining your strategy and what's right for you. I think that, are you guys familiar with the Shamir Method?
To split up the keys?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But can you explain it for new people maybe?
Yeah, so the Shamir Method is a way to secure your private keys in the event that one location is compromised by a destructive force. So in the Shamir Method, and you can look it up, you can it's simply a way to take all of your seed words that you're not going to share with anybody, and you can write them down on separate pieces of paper. And if there's 12 seed words, then you can write down 8. No, what would it be? Normally you do it with 24. You write down 2/3 of the words on each piece of paper, and you label it. And then you need 2 of the 3 pieces so it's a different 2/3. So part A,
so
B, and C.
The first and the second third, the second and the third third, and the first and the third third.
Yes.
Yeah.
Say that one more time.
2, 1, 3,
I'm not speaking over
2,
you.
3. Yeah.
Can you say it one more time?
Yeah, like the 1, 2, 2, 3, and 1, 3.
Yes.
Yeah. Talking in thirds. Yeah.
Yeah, and so you need 2 of the 3 pieces to have a complete set that would unlock the wallet. And so this way, you could keep 1 set in your safety deposit box, and you could keep 1 set with in your other secret hiding places that are spread out in different places. And that way, if you get a hurricane or a tornado, or you spill your coffee on your desk and your words were right there, then you can do better. With that, there's so that's one method that's really helpful. There are some other things that I have played around with that I like for security, like getting your private key on something that is fireproof by engraving it onto a piece of steel, or getting a Ethereum cold storage wallet coin, or getting a bill foldle. Bill foldle is like crypto steel. Any of those that allow you to take the letters and slide them into the metal container, and then it shows all your words in something that's fireproof and it can't be broken. Those are all ways people can increase their security and allow themselves more peace to sleep at night when your $1,000 of hex turned into $100 million and you're freaking out and you can't sleep. Come back to this episode and learn about secret Shamir splitting and the other methods.
So another question for you, Mehdi, is for the people you talk to on your show, do you see more value in the financial aspect of HEX, or is it being part of an awesome community?
I think we're just starting to learn about the emerging properties of the mental health angle. And the more people speak on that, the more inspiring it is. I would say if you want mad gains in your mental health now, be involved in the community and watch Hex Therapy and watch your guys' show and all these other things that are educating people and allowing us all to participate. If you want mad gains in your finances, then you're gonna lock your money in Hex, and then it's gonna take a while before you get to enjoy the benefits of that. So the behavior change can happen now, right?
Exactly. So there's another question. Is there any use case to use HEX wallets to exchange for goods and services without discouraging staking? So I think what he's saying is would it be good to use HEX as a currency, right?
Okay, I mean, that's part of the reason why I brought up Satoshi. And I was thinking in my head that like maybe Satoshi had talked about the Chancellor of Germany, which Germany is known to. The reason why Germany is such a key player in the European Union and the Euro is because Germans are savers.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
It's data. You know, like it's true that Germans save more than other people in the world, and so I was drawing a connection there, and you know that's what Satoshi was talking about, not devaluing a currency. That's why he put an Easter egg in the code and linked to an article in the Genesis block saying why he created this currency. There was the white paper, and lots of people get to argue about whether Bitcoin was created to be a currency or a store of value, right? And both of those things are related, right? Because because that's what money is. When we talk about the economic theory of money, money has 3 or 4 different functions, right? It's a unit of account. It's a store of value. It's a medium of exchange, and I always forget the 4th one. But
I mean, it should be easily separated. Yeah, that you have like the 500, the 100, the 50. Money should not
fungible.
Rot. Yeah, fungible, and it should not rot. Like you shouldn't eat it.
Yes. Highly divisible. and not able to decay, like you said. And it should be easy to identify, like that it's valid, right? That it's so there are different properties of money that make it money, and some people say that there's 6, and some people say that there's 3, and but it's like people have already thought about this for a long time. Right?
The first 3 are the most important, yeah. So
yes.
like the unit of account, the medium of exchange, and the store of value.
And so I believe that that HEX, it depends what game you want to play, what game theory you want to play. But I think that HEX could get virality through being used as a payment system, even though I know Richard doesn't like that idea. And that's not where he identifies the value being, but that's how people learn about it, is by exchanging with other people. And so personally, I think, and this is controversial, that HEX will be used as a currency for cam models and other artist types on the internet who get their payments turned off by centralized agencies, but they already have billions of viewers. And the middlemen in cam modeling take 50 to 75% of the money that's trying to be sent from the viewer to the performer. And so that's a market where you have almost 99% men watching a female performer, and in crypto it's about 99% men. If you take any other topic in the world, there's no such overlap. So the product market fit is right. There's already social networks that exist where there's billions of views, and so I think that that's one way that it could be used as a payment system, but could still, that doesn't mean that it's not the most important part isn't the saving and the store of value. But I think that you can never, but Bitcoin, I tried to send a Bitcoin transaction the other day, and it took all day.
Exactly. Well, one good thing about HEX being really a currency would be we would cut out middlemen even more. We would cut out the banks. We would cut out the Ethereum part, like where you have to translate the HEX into Ethereum and then sell it. So if the currency would be HEX anyways, and you can just work for it, receive it, and then stake it to save it. So I think HEX being a currency would cut out middlemen even more than it does already. I think if Richard would think about that, he would probably say the yes to that as well. I mean, why would it be a bad thing, Patrick, for HEX being a currency, a used currency? You know what I mean?
No, it's definitely not a bad thing, yeah. But I don't think that HEX was designed for the currency part, or like especially for the currency part. Just like the currency part is our second interesting thing we can do, yeah. But the most interesting thing we can do is trustless interest. Yeah, it's the staking function with just proof of mathematics, and without any middleman in between, so that you can still hold your own money during getting interest on your money. And I'm not aware of a place where I can earn money without giving my money out of my own hands. Because yes, technically staked HEX are staked in the code, but only myself with my private key can have access to those stakes. So I still hold this money in my own hand, because nobody else, no other middleman, not even Richard Hart himself, or I don't know, the owner of the go.hex.com site or something like that. Nobody can access my staked HEX, only my private key, you know?
Yeah.
So it's still my money, and I don't know of any other investment type in this world where I have my money still in my own pocket and I earn interest on it. Because if I have stocks, I have a stockbroker. If I have, I don't know, Ethereum, Ethereum staking is not there right now. But with all other staking possibilities, I need to send them my money in the first place. Of course, there are reliable sources, or like those investment banks where you have a different bank in the middle, that if the investment bank is going bankrupt, that your money isn't gone or something like that. All those security levels. But there is nothing I'm aware of where you can still keep your money in your own hands and still get interest on this money.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's the most powerful takeaway. What you just said is key. I think that is well said. And if I were to explain, like, well, why does Richard not see value in HEX being used as a currency? The reason for that is because of this genius part of HEX where HEX has value and money has value because it slows the economic velocity, right, of the transfers. So when you send money to yourself 15 years in the future, the average HEX velocity goes down. And as new money is printed, that's in the US dollar and other currencies, it's a race to the bottom so they can get out of debt by devaluing the currency, and they're increasing the velocity of money and stuff. Having it change hands faster and faster. And that is the opposite of a store of value. If you're exchanging quickly, you're not storing value across time. And that's what gives money value, in my opinion. If we think about it as if I order, let's say, a new video camera, and I were to pay in HEX, the person who I'm buying it from, even if it's the factory that made it, with no middlemen, they still have costs. And so they would receive the HEX from me, who bought it, and then they would sell it to cover their costs. And maybe even if they kept their profit in HEX, which they probably wouldn't, but maybe they would, then they have to sell. They have to sell their HEX to be able to make the next camera to sell, or to cover their debt from making the first camera. And so what this creates is now HEX is being dumped on the market every time I buy something. And so that's not ideal. That makes HEX more like Bitcoin, which is where miners are dumping, the price, because they have to have real costs too. In our case, our cost is time related, and but so I think that's relevant to the argument, and I think all of us can think more in the future about what kind of adoption benefits in specific payment situations. Maybe not for buying a camera, but if somebody is getting paid in HEX to do a webcam performance, then they're getting paid 2 to 3 times the amount of money they would normally get from the same viewer because the middlemen are cut out. Then even if they sell on the market, so if I buy HEX and then they sell it, that cancels out completely. But then maybe they're incentivized to talk about it on their show and get billions of views into HEX. And then some of those people go and use HEX for what it's really for, right?
And this is exactly what Oldman Hex is saying here in the comments as well. No doubt staking is unique and phenomenal, but being used as a currency would bring unbelievable awareness. Just like you said, if you could buy something with HEX. People would know, oh, okay, I could go to this store and buy a car with HEX, for example. Oh, HEX must be a huge thing because it's already used as a currency. That's in the mind of the people that, okay, if it is a currency, then it's something valuable. It must be.
I don't
Though this
think
is
so,
not
actually.
this is not
I
true. Even though
disagree.
it's not even though if it's not a currency, it can still be valuable. But I think it's in the mind of the people. Oh man, it is used as a currency. It must be something big. You know? You don't think so?
I don't agree. Bitcoin has less acceptance points than 3 years before, and still we have 20% more than the last all-time high this week. You know.
Okay, my argument is this: what is if Switzerland would come out and say tomorrow HEX would be our currency for the whole country? The whole world would just...
Switzerland came out like just 2 months before and say from next year on it is possible to pay your taxes in Bitcoin. And what did it do?
We are talking about
Bitcoin?
that a lot, right? Yeah.
I mean, it's not
I'm
like
just talking about awareness.
yes, payment system. It's not like that, you know. It's like store of value. It's not payment system.
The other benefits of a target market is with the CAM modeling, which is controversial, I know. But if you think about it, people who watch CAM models are probably a little bit more degenerate, immediate gratification seekers, like the gamblers are that HEX built on, right? HEX tries to attract people who can be changed the most and who have the most to benefit and who have the behaviors, right, that would attract them to HEX. And so that's another angle that I want to throw out there is that there's going to be types of people who are most attracted to HEX. I'm putting together an ad. Like when I say an ad, I just mean like I'm putting together like a picture to share on Twitter or whatever. But I want to have like different pictures that speak to different types of people, and whether people want to use that to invite their friends and family to the conference or share with people outside of HEX. There's one that's going to say, you went from 1 Bitcoin to 420 Bitcoin year to date. That's cool, right? And so that's a marketing strategy that we've already used. Another one I thought of today is to say in big letters, feeling cursed, because there's actually multiple people I've talked to in HEX who saw the name of HEX and they weren't, like Joe Hexotic wasn't into cryptocurrency, and he saw the name HEX and he thought, I'm feeling cursed, this is a sign. And then he saw the 369% interest and said, this is a sign. And so there's going to be target audiences that we haven't hit yet that maybe HEX has been designed for people who we're not reaching yet.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was the same, like, oh, this is a sign. Oh, this is a sign. Because, I was watching the IOTA stream of Richard Hart back in December 2017. And then I lost him, I went back to more German content. In 2018, I was not that much into the cryptocurrency space because bear market, not much going on. You don't want to look on a daily basis to see your portfolio getting less and less value, And in 2019, it was still like, okay, we got this nice pump in the summer, but a part of that, not really that much. And in the whole autumn of last year, I was thinking about, okay, what should I do with my altcoin portfolio? I had good Bitcoin and ETH, but also like 12, 13 different altcoins, all in the minus. And I was like, okay, I don't want to cash them out in euros because, it's not like that nice, yeah, if you put like 100 euros into each and every of those currencies and then you can cash out 10 euros. And so and then like 10 or 14 days before HEX had its first day, I found again an interview with Richard Hart, and like after 2017, so like 2 years later, I was like, you're doing your own cryptocurrency right now? So I know that you are legit from 2 years ago. I should listen a bit. And then he talked like 3 hours, as he likes to do. And yes, that was like, and in this 3 hours of interviewing, I had my aha moments, like, I should really look into that, what you have there, and yeah, that was my way into HEX, and how I found out about Richard and so on.
Yeah, and the more that we study, like what got us in, and how the next group of people will be different and similar than us, and the more that we work together to onboard people and to come up with ways to do that are the most effective, I think that's really one of the powers of the community, is us all understanding more about our own HEX psychology.
Well,
sure, yeah.
I think it was an awesome stream with you. I really got out a lot of questions, a lot of knowledge from you here. I think it was awesome. I'm really excited about the HEX conference. Patrick, do you have anything left you want to ask or something?
No, just if you are liking our content, just give us a like and a follow or whatever you want to. If you're able to speak German, please come over to our Telegram group called Kryptosparbuch. So it's t.me/Kryptosparbuch, Kryptosparbuch written with a K, as you can see above of Alan's head. And additionally, I just wanted to thank you, Mati, to come over to our show today to present yourself and your way into HEX, and thanks for all the awesome content you're providing for the HEX community. And I would love to hear your final thoughts, and just give us your links where we can stay in touch with you, and everything regarding the HEX conference, that everybody knows where he need to go to get access to the conference.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for bringing me on the show. And you guys have both been a really important part of me being in this space. And I know Abit made the first graphic that I did, or that I had for HEX Cameo, and I paid him in HEX for doing it. And so you both have been really important. And so I thank you greatly. I know that we're all going to be together for a long time, many years into the future. So I'm looking forward to that. Everybody can find more information about all the content that I'm doing, as well as the HEX conference, at allmylinks.com/allin, allmylinks.com/allin, or going to my Twitter, anywhere. It's all going to link to all the other content as well. So thank you guys for having me.
And I guess there was another link, like MatiAllin.com is also a link from yours, right?
That's right.
Yeah, because that's how I found you. Yeah, and then you get all the different kinds of links, and it's a bit easier to remember. Yeah, because everybody sees your name here. So MatiAllin.com, and then you also get all the content from Mati. So thanks a lot. And all the best for all of you. Yeah, take care. Have a nice weekend, and all the best, guys.
Yeah, it was really nice having you, Mati. And thank you to everybody who was in the chat and who was watching from all around the world. It really helps us a lot to grow this channel. So leave a like and a comment if you see this video in the future. And I say bye.